Welcome back to AI for Teams. Today's guest is someone I met completely by accident, but it feels like divine intervention. I was at an event in downtown Austin, right across at Capital Factory. I wasn't even supposed to be there. I was looking for a lead gen event, and this event just ended up having a bunch of startups, not the best for lead generation. But I stumbled into another building right across from Capital Factory, and that's where I met Gary Sheng. We immediately hit it off. We realized we were both at the forefront of AI, but more importantly, we share a deep conviction about our faith and how it intersects with this technology. We both believe in a future where humanity utilizes AI rather than being replaced by it. So Gary led a team at Google Cloud, co-founded Civics Unplugged, which reached 70 plus countries and landed him on the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and recently spent over 1,000 hours deep diving into AI tools. He scaled an open source tool called Peon Ping to over 100,000 developers. And now he's co-building Imagos and the Applied AI Society to supercharge companies reinventing their industries. Gary, man, I'm so glad I walked into the wrong room that day. Welcome to the show.
Well said. Wow, I hope I can live up to that intro. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you, man. Well, Gary, like I said, you spent over 1,000 hours just building and experimenting with AI tools like Cursor. For the founders listening who are just starting to dabble, what was the biggest holy crap moment that you had during that deep dive, and what did you see that most people are still missing?
So, some background, I started my career at Google in 2015 as a software engineer. So I have some experience knowing what it was like before Cursor. The joke is BC AC and AC. Now it's more like BCC and after Cloud Code, right? But Cursor blew my mind around August of 2024, and things have accelerated so much since then in the last year and a half plus. But coding used to be like really manual. People used to Google like how to do something, and often the instructions were not very good, and you could spend literally 8 hours failing to fix a single bug. And people forget this, that it used to take like hundreds of thousands of dollars to build a simple application, because you'd have to find a developer that's in demand and then maybe convince them to work on it, maybe get scammed, and then just be overall disappointed. And so there was just a lot less software, a lot less experimentation. It feels weird. I feel like an old guy, like, talking about a past era. Uh-huh. But I love that you are basically entering the workforce at a time where I really call it the imagination economy, where the bottleneck for your success is only you.
Yeah.
You are the bottleneck. I promise you that you do not know anyone where the tool is the bottleneck. Everyone that you know, their own imagination, their own self-limiting beliefs is the bottleneck to them building a better life for themselves, for solving problems for other people, for helping people make money so they can make money as well from creating new companies. So a year and a half ago, a little bit more than a year and a half ago, I got a taste of the birth of the imagination economy, where you can speak into your computer essentially and useful things come out of it. It blew my mind.
That brings something very interesting, because now how do you improve that skill set, right? Like, that's the next question that comes up. How do you improve your imagination?
So you and I are believers. Do you ever talk about that on your podcast?
I haven't, but more than gladly, I believe in Jesus Christ. So
okay, cool.
Yeah.
So this is just the truth. That's also my truth. I know it's like, oh, my truth, your truth. It just happens to be what I believe. So open to debate. But I think that my best ideas come from God, right? And my best idea comes from when I'm obedient in surrender, when I'm not clouded with garbage music or really garbage energies from toxic people. And so a lot of people, I mean, let me ask you this. Have you ever spent time with people that don't believe in themselves, so when you think big, they want to put you down?
Oh, 100%, yeah. But I stay away from those.
I'm glad that you learned to do that.
Yeah.
So the environment that you curate, which includes the people and the energies that you're around, and also whether you're in the Word and prayed up and, you know, in love and surrender,
yeah.
I think that has the most to do with whether you will be able to receive the ideas that God wants you to receive, and then be able to then implement those ideas into the world as a offering to the world, but primarily to God.
There's a verse that I keep repeating as of late: "Be still and know that I am God."
Absolutely.
And it's just like, with the craziness of AI, so many new tools, so many just there's just too much for people to keep up. Like, these are all the conversations that I'm having, and business owners are calling me like, what's something like what? Like, they can't keep up. They're focused in on their business. And it's just like, we forget to, like, who's in control at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, I am looking forward to the rest of this. Psalms 56, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, but be still and know that I am God.
Yeah.
That verse has been helping me a lot, as there's so many new tools coming up all the time. Business owners cannot, like, they can't keep up. Like, I'm having, these are all the conversations that I'm having, and I can't keep up. So that being said, know who's in control, and that is God.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know what that makes me think of is that you shouldn't derive your self-worth or your value or feel like, I'm actually curious if you've heard this, of the difference between toiling and receiving. So, and this is actually, I've been on this faith journey for a little over 5 years now, which started with Kanye's Sunday service and Jesus is King. I don't know, maybe we can dive into it if we want. I think music is very important for business owners and people that are striving. Music can be a fuel. But something that's been really on my mind is that Christians in business, they should work diligently, but they should not work in a way that ultimately burns them out. And if they're doing that, they are doing what I call toiling versus receiving the success that God wants them to have. They are not being still and reminded that God is God, and that God wants them to succeed and has a path for them to success just for them, that doesn't require them to basically enslave themselves. And so, again, I say this with nuance as someone that works kind of a lot, but that's just because I want to, I see an opportunity, I see responsibility to, and I'm mindful that I need to make sure I don't burn out. But I guess a practical sign that you're in alignment with the business that God wants you to build and you're building it the right way is that the right connections show up at your door.
Yeah.
And that's what happened here.
Yeah.
So I predict that something beautiful is going to happen from our relationship.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly, I felt that in the moment, especially just through just the nuances of the connection happening in the first place.
Yeah.
And just it fathoms me just how continuously God is putting the right people and the right connections, like you said, and I just feel in alignment to something more than above me.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Especially with the space that we're in.
We are being orchestrated, and it's just once you basically realize you don't have to do it on your own, wow, that feels amazing.
Yeah.
You don't have to just figure it out on your own. And I wrote this journal entry the other day called the Chief Divine Download Officer. Again, when you are tapped in with God, you will receive the right insight to unblock your business at the right time. And or you'll meet someone who's really tapped into God that can give you that divine download that can unblock your business at the right time.
I mean, that just brings back to the importance of being in the Word, being in community, and just that having. I think one thing that I'm learning recently is changing my prayers. Like as everything's ever evolving, like what is bringing it up to God and letting Him be in control, surrender it to Him.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm going to really enjoy the rest of this conversation.
Yeah, let's do it.
Well, I'm sure we're going to bring in more of our faith throughout this, but I'm loving this. Like, so yeah, bring it to the 1,000 hours, right? That you spent. Like during that time, your brother built a tool called Peon.
Yeah, so that was actually really recently. The 1,000 hours started around the late 2024.
Uh-huh.
So it's been thousands of hours since then.
Thousands of hours.
Thousands of hours over the past year and a half, right? And at the time, I was advising on a project for the Catholic Church, which I thought it was so big and so important to me and a lot of people that I was literally planning to move to Rome. Pope Francis's health, took a nosedive around that time, so the project stalled out, and so I found myself in December of 2024 being like, what am I doing with my life now? Luckily, in Austin, Texas, a guy named Austin, Austen, put out a tweet saying, we're going to try this experiment where we fly people into Austin, all expenses paid, 3 months intensive, 100-hour-a-week boot camp for AI engineering. At the time, vibe coding wasn't a word yet, but it was just like AI engineer. Let's create AI engineers. There's demand for AI engineers. Sign up, take this IQ test. It was kind of weird, but
this is crazy.
Yeah, you didn't know this? Yeah.
No.
I got in, locked in, made a lot of friends, did well, graduated among the top of the class by the end of March, and got my first consulting gig at a local, pretty high-profile AI school system. Did that for a little bit, and overall, I've been transported into this world of applied AI engineering ever since, working with some pretty cool businesses accelerating their efforts.
Did you ever imagine this happening?
Well, I mean, it's just God, right? Like imagine first being like, wow, that's definitely God. I can help the Catholic, like this organization that this over 1 billion people are related to the Catholic Church, maybe even closer to 1.8 billion. And I was like, wow, what a big way to make an impact. And then that, kind of stalled out, and I was wondering, what am I supposed to do then? God. And I just had to trust that there was a bigger plan, and I'm in a really good place right now. Since that happened in this past year and a half, and I really like helping people. I really like supporting people's education, inspiring people. I really like explaining complex topics simply so that non-technical people can understand them. A lot to say about the Applied AI Society, which is my main thing right now, but we'll get there.
Well, I mean, I think perfect segue to talk about exactly what is the Applied AI Society.
Well, glad you asked. So the Applied AI Society came through ongoing conversations in 2025 with a friend and mentor, Travis Oliphant, who is an AI pioneer who invented some technologies one's called NumPy, that it has been critical to training large language models like GPT-2, 3, etc., right? And we saw what we call the writing on the wall, which is that an AI flood is coming. And there's going to be a mass extinction event of businesses that don't choose to work with AI for teams. Thank you for the sponsorship. I'm just kidding. No. There are businesses that are going to radically succeed and grow in the next 2 years. And there's companies that used to be companies. It's kind of like an exaggeration, but not really.
Not really.
It's an important thing to keep in mind, right? That if there's 2 companies that are basically equally loved, similar, traction. One locks in and learns how to apply AI to streamline operations, do better at outbound, etc. One company is going to do so much better that the other company might not exist in 2 years, maybe sooner. So we saw the writing on the wall. We don't want people to be shocked about what we know is inevitably happening. The capabilities of these tools keeps growing, right?
Yeah.
And so we want to help businesses stay businesses. We want, and we also see that new grads are entering an economy where no one's hiring junior employees anymore. So what are the new roles that people of your age can step into? You realize this, and that's probably why you're fired up, because you are getting in the entrepreneurial motion, right? You are like, okay, reach out to this person, get them on my podcast, right? Start making content. Just be helpful to people. Learn how to create value without being told what to do. Such important skill sets. I call these soul skills.
Yep.
There's a lot of talk about soft skills. I talk about soul skills. You're nurturing these soul skills, which are going to be so more and more valuable. Especially because part of the soul skills is being like, God, what do you want me to do in this time? That is going to allow me to be provided and provide for my family. So
it's so interesting because that's literally been my prayer. That's my week after week. That is the prayer that I pray. God, what do you want me to do? Let you be in control.
Yeah. How do you want to use me? Right?
Yeah.
So it's hard to say sometimes. It's hard to say why does any one person get a fixation with anything. I would say in my case, I know it comes from God. God wants me to get the word out about the AI flood and co-build the ark with as many people as possible.
And I think we were on a call. We were on a call this past. Was this week or was
late last week? I think.
Yeah. See, time is just flying,
time
right?
Is weird. Yeah. Time is weird.
And we were on a call, and I believe there was something you mentioned on that call, or maybe when we connected. But it's just there's a huge need for just of not even just my generation, but just everyone. It is AI literacy.
Applied AI literacy is not. It's not the new learning how to code. It's actually so significant. It's the new learning how to read. Let me repeat that. If you don't know how to apply AI, it's like you don't know how to read. That is how significant this changes. Because these tools are so powerful that if you do not know how to augment yourself and vibe multiply your will into the world. Notice I didn't say force multiply, I said vibe multiply. You're thinking something and it just happens, right? That's basically vibe multiplication in my view. If you don't know how to do that, someone that's as ambitious as you but is willing to use these tools is going to crush you.
Yeah.
And we live in a competitive world where people, they don't need to be thinking about you. They don't need to be thinking about your well-being, right? And you might be like, well, shouldn't we be helping each other? Yes. And the people that crush it today should be donating a lot of their money to churches. That is an important playbook. Make a ton of money today and then help as many people as possible. Don't expect other people to do that, though. We live in a very fallen society. So if you are one with God, get all the divine downloads to make as much money as possible so you can give as much money away as possible.
So that way we can impact as many people as possible, save as many people as possible, because it's again, it's bigger than just yourself. It is what ultimately, what bigger impact than what God has to impact other people.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Funny, right?
Getting into our faith, I have actually some questions here. You said something really profound. Immersed in the AI space, seeing people treat AI like a god was very alarming. The culture of techno-idolatry, ironically, brought me closer to the Most High God. So unpack that for me. What does techno-idolatry look like in the tech world right now, and why is it dangerous?
Well, I think anything that gets you away from God is dangerous. So let's just say that. There's a lot of things that, if you get overly addicted to video games, it's dangerous, right? So anything that's getting away from having a good relationship and being prayed up, following his will, that's dangerous. I want to talk about like a lot of where I know people are going to be pulled. I call it like 3 directions. There's going to be, and I'll end with the best one. There's going to be the ethno-pagan pull. There's a lot of these tribal, like my race or ethnicity is better than yours, and your destiny is just to be a representative of your race or ethnicity, and like we're going to go back to tribalism because, well, that's already happening, right? Who is some of the most popular people today? It's the Nick Fuenteses of the world, right? And I get it. I don't agree with a lot of what he says, but I get, I see the writing on the wall here, that it is extremely attractive to join these extreme exclusionary groups when you don't feel like your bases are covered. And I don't want to single him out. There's all kinds of these like ethnic leaders that are going to emerge. The second group is what I call transhumanists. And they call themselves this. I don't call them that. It's not as I'd call them that. They call them this. It's people that want to basically merge with computers. And so yeah, like naturally, okay, why would you do that? These people, including executives at some of these top tech companies, they are of the view that intelligence is all that matters, and that if you can invent a creature, and maybe an artificial creature, that has higher intelligence than humans, they should dominate us. That's actually their view.
That's an actual view.
It's an actual view. So they basically are like, yeah, it's a meritocracy. If you create a creature that's more intelligent than humans, it should be able to kind of control the humans, right? And so that's why a lot of them want to merge with a machine so that they can be the dominators. They're not going to admit this that publicly. Some of it is in the Epstein files. A lot of genetic modification, etc. Then the third is what I call Christo-Futurist, which that's the name of my Substack for a reason, because I believe that those aligned with God should also be the most technologically advanced and capable of helping as many people at scale as possible and democratize human flourishing for as many people, Christians and non-Christians alike. I think one of my beliefs is that you should go around the world and preach the gospel and sometimes use words. Only sometimes use words.
Wow. I think anyone watching that's a lot.
It's gonna
to
be a
take
banger.
in.
It's gonna be a banger, bro.
Yeah, that's a clip. Wow.
We have a lot of clips for sure.
Well, so I have this next question. You have this philosophy that building is an act of worship. How does your faith actually change the way you build AI tools or advise companies? And how is your approach different from the standard Silicon Valley playbook?
Can't wait to answer this one. So, first of all, I do believe that the highest thing that I could be doing right now is, or one of the most important things I could be doing is getting the word out about applied AI literacy and providing accessible education, free and or accessible education to as many people as possible. If you can pay so that we can pay it forward, right? Mm-hmm. If you're a business owner that can pay for applied AI literacy, pay so you can pay it forward.
Wholeheartedly agree.
So I feel God's support with this organization. It's launched 2 months ago, and it's like I have more inbound than I can handle.
Wow.
And I'm excited. I'm just super excited about that. I also am getting inbound of Gary, help me launch this company I've been meaning to launch. AI tools can now help me build this startup, I assume, right? Help me with this. And you might be wondering, okay, well, I'll tell you what people should be wondering. Why, when everyone in the world can more easily build an app or whatever, doesn't that just make it more competitive? You know what my answer to that is? Then that's all the reason more to only work on startups that are blessed by God. I'm sure you've heard of looks maxing, correct?
Oh, yes, I have. Yes. Yeah.
Okay. And so just for the audience, it's like when you just spend a ton of time like getting your cheeks right and like getting your teeth fixed and
Or go like this.
whatever. Yeah, like this. Oh, let's do it right now.
Yeah.
No. So that's cool. It's a funny thing. I don't disagree with some of the. I think aesthetics do matter to a certain extent, but what's way more important than looks maxing is favor maxing. And you're like, what's favor? Well, it's basically when you have done everything that you can to be in the best relationship with God, such that if God called you to be in business, that the business that he told you to be in is blessed.
Okay. Wow. I am loving this. Please say more. Like, unpack that.
I think one of the greatest failures, so first I'll say one of the greatest failures of modern Christian formation, and I say this as a baby Christian, but I've talked to a lot of Christians and I've consumed a lot of Christian content, that we do a terrible job of explaining that being a follower of Christ is the best thing you could do across the board for any aspect of your life, whether you want to be an athlete or whether you're called to be an athlete, an artist, a writer, a business owner, a technologist. If God called you to do it and you do it, you're going to be blessed in it, right? Mm-hmm. So, but how is the faith typically framed? It's typically framed as you do something for 2 hours on Sunday, and then you're just a secular atheist dude throughout the week. Do you think that's favor maxing? Let me ask you, do you think that's maxing your favor with God?
No, not at all. But that's typically what majority of, and that's sad.
And I don't blame them because this is, okay, what would I call this? A lack of spiritual literacy. Spiritual literacy. People, when they go to churches, they're not given, they're not explained, this is the game of life. It's not a bad way to put it. And what God wants you to do is play the highest possible, most rewarding game possible, which is the Great Commission. Oh. And within the Great Commission of spreading the gospel, preaching to all the nations, you have a role in that, just carved out for you. That if you step into that role, you will be blessed beyond your imagination. And where faith comes in is, no, I can't give you a mirror into the future. Some people have prophetic gifts, but most people cannot give you a window into the future that's for sure going to happen. But that's where the faith walk comes in. That's why I have a website, a sub-website on my website, faithwalk.garysheng.com, where I document my insights on the journey of my faith walk. And boy, can I tell you that every part of my journey has been orchestrated. I even document, if I didn't meet Russ back there, I wouldn't have met Beef, I wouldn't have met Brenda, I wouldn't have met my pastor, I wouldn't have been baptized, I wouldn't have, felt supported in partnering up with Travis Oliphant on Applied AI Society. It wouldn't have been boom, 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 boom. None of this would have happened without God. So I think for any Christian that's like lukewarm and they're still like, I'm kind of a Christian just because my parents were, you're just not paying attention.
Yeah.
And you're probably not doing the thing you're probably not walking the unique one-of-one path that God carved out for you before you were born. He cares about you. He loves you. He can count the number of hairs on your head. That's how much he knows you. And he's so great. He has so much grace where when you screw up, you can always bounce back into that favor maxing, into his favor.
He has so much love, so much grace for us. I mean, it's interesting the time we're recording. I mean, Easter's coming up.
Yeah.
The great news, like that our King, what he did for us.
Yeah.
So impactful. Wow, a lot to unpack there. Your great grandfather was a pastor in China before Christianity was banned. Your grandfather was a rocket engineer who survived a labor camp.
Yeah.
Now you're building at the frontier of AI. How does that legacy of resilience and faith shape your mission today?
Well, look, I think Austin is the best place in the world for a Christo-futurist, a follower of Christ that wants to build the future and be the future. This is where Elon has set up his headquarters, and I still have faith. I pray for him. I pray for his return to the Father. This is such a powerful intersection of faith communities, faith leaders, tech communities, tech leaders, business communities, great businesses, business leaders. Like, this is the perfect merging of so many things. What was your question again? Sorry.
I'll repeat it for you, right? Your great-grandfather was a pastor in China before Christianity was banned, and your grandfather was a rocket engineer who survived the labor camp.
Yeah.
Now you're building at the frontier of AI.
Yes.
How does that legacy of resilience and faith shape your mission today?
Yeah, so my great-grandfather, first of all my ancestors, whose stories I know and don't know, but that include my great-grandfather, who was a pastor in China before Christianity was banned, and one of my grandfathers, who was a rocket engineer, who was also in a communist labor camp. All these, as well as one of my grandmothers, who I'm sure prays for me every day. She's a Christian. She's old. I plan to visit her later this year. I believe all of their lives led to this moment. I have a nerdy metaphor where I don't know if you've heard of like the idea of distilled models, where you can have like a smaller file size for like a very powerful large language model that's like a version of a bigger one. You can distill it, and that's outside of the scope of this conversation. But I feel like ideally, a descendant is a distillation of the best of your entire ancestral tree. So that's what I feel. I feel the weight of my great-grandfather, who pursued and the path of the Great Commission when it was extremely dangerous to do so. I feel the weight of, I feel the resilience of one of my grandfathers who was in a communist labor camp for 6 years. I feel the prayers and the faith of my grandmother, who, it's candidly not the best place to be a Christian today. It hasn't been since she was born, over the last 90 years. And so that stubborn, faithful, tech-oriented person that I am is a distillation. I'm the unification, or I try to be a great representation of my entire ancestral line. So anything that I do, I just feel like anything that's good, I give it up to my ancestral line as well as God. So I feel very prepared to do whatever it takes in this moment.
When we met, we talked about Charlie Kirk.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Rest in peace to him. But I think there's a great awakening that happened after that.
Yeah.
There's something different. What did you say? After
everything's different.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny. I had a 3-hour conversation with a friend after It's on my YouTube. It's my one video there. I'm gonna have more soon, but it's my one video of just like, wow, what does this moment mean? And we caught up today. His name's Jordan Hall, mentor, friend, futurist, and we were joking. Hey, how you doing? Not much has happened since the last 6.5 months, huh? When like everything's happened.
That's crazy.
The world has changed so much, right? You know, I was actually there when the victims gathered in front of the Capitol building in DC of Epstein files, like 10 women. I was there at the press conference because a friend was able to sneak me in.
Uh-huh.
I was there in history, right? And that's when they were pressuring Donald Trump to release the files because the truth needed to get out about the levels of perversion and corruption at the highest levels of our society, not just the government, but like entertainment, you know, finance, geopolitics, right? Former presidents, prime ministers involved in this. And I just like, you know, I remember I think that was, forget what date that was. I think it was like September or something last year. Mm-hmm. And I was like thinking like, will this information ever get out? And ultimately the pushing of people like Thomas Massey and others got the truth out. And you know what I feel like is everyone knows that everyone else knows that America 1.0 needed to collapse.
Yeah.
And I don't celebrate. I'm not like excited about the consequences of these systems falling apart, but it will get worse before it gets better. But the institutions needed to fall apart before the new institutions that can be rapidly built with these powerful tools that are emerging could be built.
Wow.
And so, you know, they say that the spiritual war, the war against evil will be fought in the spirit, not through might. And so corrupt, fallen institutions, they're falling on their own. Took a while, but they're falling on their own. And so what I want to tell people is that if you didn't already realize this already, there's nothing stopping you from building that business you always wanted to build. There's no longer gatekeepers. There's no longer gates. The bottleneck is you, which is the most empowering thing once you realize that. So get your literacy up, get your applied AI literacy up, believe in yourself, get prayed up in the word, get the divine imagination that allows you to then create the business that God wants you to create. This is what this moment means to me.
And I'm sure, Applied AI Society, a bunch of resources that you're creating right now in this very moment for that exact thing right there.
Yeah, just giving people as few, I was going to say giving people as few excuses as possible. That's like a negative way to look at it.
Uh-huh.
I think often all that people need is, for example, let me give you a metaphor, right? Mm-hmm. I want to give people mental tools, right? There's already plenty of technical tools. The number one thing that we need to give people is mental tools, frameworks. One example, just to give you a real example, you might have been the best salesperson at your company that's been around for, let's say, decades. You might be the best salesperson. You might be like the LeBron of selling at your, medical company. Or Michael Jordan. You might be Michael Jordan of that manual sales process, but you need to shift ASAP from Michael Jordan to Phil Jackson. Everyone, and Phil Jackson is the coach of the legendary, for the youngsters. He's the coach of the legendary Bulls team that won tons of championships.
Thank you for that.
I was like, so you have to go from player to coach now. And so who are you coaching? You're coaching AI agents that do the job you used to do. Because if you don't learn that, your friend Mike is going to learn that. And it's not something you should take personally. When every company is radically agentifying, becoming radically more efficient, even if they want to keep you in your executor player role, it's just not economically possible anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this. Oracle just fired how many people today, this morning?
I didn't see this.
30,000 people.
This morning, wow.
This morning. The writing's on the wall, y'all. So, and I'm not telling you to use this tool, that tool, open code, Claude code, blah. I'm telling you to have the mental model. You got to go from player to coach. ASAP.
I think anyone watching that, I mean, I know these conversations that I'm having. I know how valuable that right there really is, especially the part of like, I'm not sure if you put like the skill of delegation, the skill of like being able to, like some of the best experts who've had hundreds of employees, like they are an expert at delegation.
Yes.
And it's like, get good at that right there. Like, it.
100%.
It's everything.
100%.
Have we talked about Imagos?
Yeah, let's talk about Imagos.
Okay. Well,
Cool.
with Imagos, you talk about giving companies two wings, applied AI and cultural architecture.
Yep.
So everyone talks about the AI part. What is cultural architecture and why is this the missing piece for tech companies?
So,
and for context, what is Imagos?
Imagos came organically through people asking me and my partner, Ron Roberts, for help on launching their companies, growing their companies in this highly agentic age, right? In this new applied AI economy. So we're still figuring out the details, candidly, but we're trying to practice what we preach. We start with the mental model. What is our strategy here? First of all, we don't want to work with anyone that the business idea that they have doesn't come from God. And look, it's a whole conversation around that, right?
I love it.
But we want favor. We want favor in the marketplace. So you better believe that the default CEO, founder that we're backing is a believer. Genuinely so, deeply so, right? And not just that, they have deep domain expertise to understand why the industry that they're trying to, I don't want to say disrupt, all the industries are already disrupted by AI. It's already like the incumbents are already like done, right? It's hard. I mean, anyone that's like an older guy like me or older just knows that how hard it is to reform an existing institution. It's very, very, very difficult. Very difficult. So the winners that are also going to help humanity win for every industry are going to be born like now. Like 2026 is a birth year for a lot of these companies that are going to define the future of their industries, right?
Wow.
Mark my words on that. It's a different year right now. So
it is.
We are like, we're not even scouting. These, we call them human unicorns, are kind of gravitating in our orbit because they know it's time. It's time to build something that is like a new layer of the future of society, essentially. And okay, so you have the human unicorn, right? Who else do you need? You have the two wings, right? One of the wings is like a killer applied AI genius, right? You know, the joke that Russ back there and I have made is like, someone can be so good at applying AI, they might as well be called an AGI whisperer. I have this line where AGI, artificial general intelligence, which, okay, what does that mean? Almost doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But just super, super intelligent AI, it's already here. It's just not equally distributed / more importantly, it's not everyone knows how to wield it. So you want to work with someone that knows how to wield the full capacity of the AI tools today. So that they basically have the ability to build like 100-person team in a previous era just alone with one person.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one wing. So you have the human unicorn, one wing of the Pegasus, right? And then the other wing is, so technology is cool. If anyone's been in like technology for a while, you know that there's a lot of technology that never gets an adoption, right? TLDR on that is adoption always starts with one passionate community that's like, yeah, let's adopt it. We trust the builders of it, right? So it's helpful to have a cultural architect or a movement builder that really knows what that community wants. And early on in the business, it can be tried out and adopted and build trust in that community so the word of mouth spreads. Make sense?
Yeah.
So that ideally the founder, the human unicorn, has a lot of trust in that community, but often they may not have all the marketing skills, branding skills, et cetera, to really make the technology resonate with a particular audience. So if you have a lot of taste, you know how to make something resonate with a particular community that will allow your business to get its first customer, 10, 100,000, 10,000, million, right?
Right.
Then you want to work with that cultural architect, that cultural movement builder. So those are the two wings of the Pegasus. And so I see there being an amazing opportunity to create extremely valuable, highly scalable companies that couldn't have existed before, that only have like 3 to 5 people.
I mean, it's very true. Just what was it? I mean, OpenClaw, like,
Yeah.
made by one guy.
Yep.
Like,
100%. Now it's used by like the world. So that's one. It's a great example of one of them, essentially. And
there's more. There's more.
This is the year.
You're going to see a lot of, like, this year alone, you're going to...
This year is where a lot of really great companies that make things, I call it democratizing human flourishing, right? The businesses that I want to be a part of, for example, easiest example is the housing industry. How expensive is housing? If you can create a highly automated housing startup where as much as possible of the pieces of the house are assembled and transported and assembled, right, you can greatly reduce the cost of housing so that you can help a lot more people have housing, right? So that's the process of democratizing an aspect of human flourishing. Like, basically, what do humans need to have good well-being? You figure out a piece of that, you make it way cheaper than it was before.
Yeah.
And automation helps you do that.
Well, a mindset that I have for that, I believe it's Jeff Bezos who said this, like, for Amazon, it's like, what are things that are to be, like, no matter what happens, are still to be true? For example, people are still always going to want shipping to be faster, cheaper, and it's like going back to that principle. Like, what are things 100%. That are absolute, always to be absolute?
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it's about picking that thing that you have an unfair, maybe even divinely unfair advantage to target.
That's something that, that's a whole
divinely
other
unfair.
Yeah. Well, and you co-founded the Apply AI Society with Travis Oliphant.
Yep.
To build a talent pipeline.
Well, that's one of the natural outcomes of upskilled people, right? That they can be empowered to create more and more value for society. I think I kind of see the new economy as like a dojo, right, for people learning like new skills, right? Like, and I encourage anyone that's called to start a new business to do that, because I think that's like the most creative work that you can do, among the most creative work you can do. But helping an existing business automate their workflows, grow their business is a beautiful thing that you can do. So
it's a huge gap in the market right now. Like, I talk to all these business owners, like, it's just a huge need. You say AI, it's like they just want it. Like, that's great. They're all looking at it.
And a lot of them are willing to pay for it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Cool.
And everyone talks about, or actually what I was going to ask, for the team leaders listening to AI for Teams, what is the biggest skill gap you're seeing right now, and what do people need to learn to not get left behind?
I'm going to be consistent. I think the mindset is
I think so too.
It's the number one thing. It's believing that I'm going to be provocative, and you're going to know the nuance of what I'm saying. Hard work is overrated. I say this as someone that is working a lot, but hard work that is not smart work is beyond overrated. I would even say it is satanic.
Ooh.
Because Satan wants you tired.
Oh.
Satan wants you to be a player when God wants you to be a coach or a game designer. So, are you playing Satan's game and patting yourself on the back that you're working like 3 different shifts when God wants you to be blessed and highly favored and well rested? So, I hope this triggered some people.
That needed to be said. This is good. Gary, you and I talked about this when we met. There's a lot of fear that AI is going to replace jobs, but we both believe in a future where humanity utilizes it. And so, AI can do more meaningful work. I'm seeing tools like OpenClaw, Manus, and completely automate mandate tasks. So freeing up teams to usually, to actually have the team be creative, right? So as AI agents get better at the execution, the coding, the emails, the operations, what becomes the most valuable human skill?
Yeah.
What should founders be training their teams to do that AI can't do?
I'm going to be consistent again. You should have a chief favor officer. No, that's a little too abstract. I do think that the leader, a company is only as successful as their leader, and it's typically one person, right? There's often a team, an executive team. That typically, when there's a tiebreaker that needs to happen, it's typically one person that is breaking the CEO, right? So the level of success, the level of ability of that company to adapt to the rapidly changing environment has everything to do with the well-being, the clarity, the strategic thinking of the leader, right? So if you're not the leader, pick a better leader to work under. If you are the leader, recognize that your job is to progressively get your business to a point where agents are doing almost all the work. And humans, it's not that they don't have a role, it's that they are simply systems designer of a system that is creating value for customers autonomously as autonomously as possible. That may feel like a really big leap for a lot of business owners, but it starts with workflow automation. And then it goes from there.
What do you, let's say someone is working, they're not a leader, or maybe they're a leader among leaders, whatever the sorts, and they're seeing AI, its capabilities, but it's like their leader isn't living up to its capabilities. What does that person do?
I mean, I kind of said it. Sometimes you just have to accept you got to choose a different leader. Because I know some people that are good at evolving at even when they're older people, but that's rare, right? How many people that do you know that are like adult? They like can really change or have mental flexibility. So I think you know it in your spirit if your leader has what it takes to lead the company that you're part of to the promised land. And you just have to be honest with yourself. But if the CEO, for example, has humility, truly loves and appreciates the people around them and recognizes them as gifts around them, then great. You can just ask them, hey, do you want help AI-ifying your company? And if they're receptive, that's a great sign. Yeah. And then they can work with AI for teams. Right?
Yes, they can. Yes, they can. And no, like seriously, I'm seeing like, I mean, I just saw a podcast. Dan Martell, he just dropped one.
Yeah.
And it's true. Just like you can go up to your leaders. Your job is either going to be replaced or you can help replace your job. Either way, you become something useful, and you just have to embark on that. But also using that like discernment of your leader, whether to stay with that leader and believe in that leader.
Yep.
Having those exact mental frameworks to work on.
Yep.
The importance of like just the mental frameworks in the time that we're in right now. Like you're
I'm onto something. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Clearly, right?
Yep.
What do you the next? I mean, I know the next 3 months. What are you focused on right now?
I'm focused on providing as much value to humanity while respecting my energy.
How are you doing that?
By creating self-paced courses where it's basically free, or it's cheap, or you can DM me for a discount.
Where can they DM you?
On my first and last name, Gary, GarySheng, on X or Instagram or LinkedIn. But it's about democratizing a high quality, truth-seeking, empowering applied AI literacy. So getting that out there in the world, that's going to happen in the next month, I would say. And then that's one of the things that is a top priority. I'm talking to governments, I'm talking to universities, I'm talking to inspiring people of your generation, like right now. And I fundamentally believe that the kids are going to be all right.
Same.
I meet, I had this initial thought that I needed to bring applied AI literacy to college campuses. What I realized is that I just need to encourage people of your age to be servant leaders. It's not that hard to learn this stuff, but to then go out into your communities to upskill people that may not be as online as you or whatever. It's about basically creating missionaries of applied AI. So
it's interesting because
expanding the missionary efforts around the world is a huge priority of mine.
Just so you know, I feel like God calling me to that higher purpose. Genuinely.
Amazing.
I mean, I'm in that age. I'm 21, about to be 22. Still, TikTok is a thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been really great having you on. Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience before we end it?
We live in the best of times. I'll end with and good. We live in the worst of times in a lot of ways. Our education system. I'll list a few things. Right. The education system could not be worse at preparing us for the future, at all grades. Correct.
Correct.
Our medical system is super corrupt and way over expensive. Our government is extremely corrupt across the board, basically. We are in World War III. Food prices and gas prices are about to freaking skyrocket. Civil unrest is about to skyrocket. Violence is about to skyrocket.
Yep.
We live in so when I say we live in climate migration is about to skyrocket from the southern hemisphere to the U.S. You can do border control to a certain extent, but when you have millions of people that their homes are flooded and stuff, where are they going to go? So it's all part of what I call, I didn't invent this, but I use that term, omni-crisis. It's an everything crisis. It's a poly-crisis. Everything's happening all at once in a negative way. But it's the best of times, where there's a spiritual awakening happening. There's super intelligent tools that can help us create whatever we want. Distribution is now super democratized. Even if Mark Zuckerberg or whoever censors us, there's way more of like these uncensored platforms that can get the word out about things, right? The Rumbles, etc. And all these institutions that used to gate the ability, for example, to release an album, right, to the public. Now you can release an album independently. Now you can self-publish, right? So the gatekeepers have lost all credibility, and they're kind of, no one takes them seriously anymore. And the gates are gone. So what is your excuse? And I don't even want to frame that negatively. I'm saying this is your opportunity. This is an invitation to crush it in this new economy, which I call the applied AI economy, the imagination economy. And some people call it the K-shaped economy because, you know, you could be here and then you can, they say you can do these things and you can go like this or here. And I agree, but I also say, I would even go so far as to say we are living in the elevator economy, where the things that you do from the moment that you watch this video in a short amount of time can take you from here to, or it can be helpful to get a reality check. You're kind of a floating little elevator car, right? It's tethered by a string. Someone else is going to snip that if you don't get your stuff together right now. So we live in the worst of times, but we very much live in the best of times, where if you believe in yourself, again, and you're favor maxing, and you get your applied AI literacy up, and you partner up, let me add one more thing. You squad max with the right people that are truth-seeking, favor maxing, have complementary skill sets, are learning, believe in themselves, good energy, not toxic, you are going to crush it today. So let's just see it as a sign that if you got to this part of the video, you might just be on track to be explosively growing this year. This is a big bang year for you if you got to this part of the video. I promise you. So let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Thank you, Gary. It was a pleasure having you.
Appreciate you, brother.